Why is President Trump so angry at Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell, and could Trump fire Powell? So, Trump actually appointed Jay Powell back in 2017, but since then, he has expressed frustration with Powell's policy a number of times. But most recently, Trump became angry at Jay Powell after he said this.
We may find ourselves in the challenging scenario in which our dual mandate goals are in tension.
What Powell's essentially saying is that the Trump administration's tariff policies are putting the Fed in a really tough position. So the Federal Reserve has two jobs. It's called the dual mandate. And its two jobs are to keep unemployment under control, to keep unemployment as low as possible, and to keep inflation low. Those are considered to be the two pillars of the US economy. And what Jerome Powell is essentially saying is that Trump's tariff policy is potentially putting those two things in conflict. So here's how this works. The high tariffs that the Trump administration is putting in place against countries all over the world will serve as a tax on those goods as they come into the country, which means those goods are going to get more expensive. That is going to raise prices, and inflation is just a fancy word for prices rising. So prices are going to rise because of the tariffs, which means the Federal Reserve is going to potentially need to swoop in and do something about that. So what is the Federal Reserve going to do about inflation? Well, what it did about inflation back in 2021 is going to raise interest rates. It's going to make borrowing money more expensive. So essentially, when interest rates are higher, it becomes more expensive to take out loans. So people and businesses take out fewer loans and they take out smaller loans, which means they buy less stuff. And when businesses are selling less stuff, they need to do something about that. So in general, they will cut their prices, or those prices will grow more slowly. That is one of the ways that raising interest rates can help to lower prices. Now, Powell's also making the point that tariffs could increase unemployment at the same time as they are increasing prices. Let's say you own a company that makes backpacks, and let's say you get the clips for your backpacks from China. Well, now let's say because of tariffs, the clips on your backpacks are going to be a lot more. That means you're going to have to charge more for your backpacks, and that probably means you're going to sell fewer backpacks, which means you're going to be bringing in less money as a company, and that probably means you are going to be slower about giving people raises and a lot more hesitant to hire people, which means there are going to be fewer open jobs in the economy, so that can push unemployment up. So the Federal Reserve's two jobs are coming into conflict with each other. The dual mandate is dueling, essentially. So what Chair Powell is saying is that Trump's tariffs are potentially putting the economy in a situation where unemployment is rising and prices are rising, and the Federal Reserve has to pick. It has to say, okay, we're going to address the rising prices and just let unemployment go up, let the job market suffer, or we're going to have to prioritize the job market and just let prices rise without doing anything about it. The Trump administration is not happy that Powell is sounding this alarm and criticizing its policies. And so President Trump came out and said that Powell's, quote, termination cannot come fast enough. But the president does not have the power to fire Jay Powell. The Fed chair is appointed. President Trump appointed him in 2017, and Powell's term is not up until next year. Now, President Trump and the Trump administration have been kind of pushing the envelope of what you can and can't do in a number of ways. Will he try and oust Jerome Powell? I don't think he will, because even Trump's heir apparent, the person he apparently wants to put into Jay Powell's position, has come out saying he does not think President Trump should oust Jay Powell.
As that great Chicagoan Ferris Bueller once noted, life moves pretty fast. For the time being, we are well positioned to wait for greater clarity before considering any adjustments to our policy stance.